The trajectory of an individual's life is fundamentally sculpted by the content of their mind, a timeless principle repeatedly demonstrated by giants of industry such as Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, and Jeff Bezos. The legendary writer Napoleon Hill once articulated this eloquently, asserting in Think and Grow Rich that your identity mirrors your dominant thoughts. Yet, if this truth is universally accessible, why do so many aspiring individuals falter on the road to achievement? Do they fail to genuinely contemplate their tomorrow, or are they simply blind to the vast potential residing within? Our narrative today is designed to illuminate these very questions, delivering a profound insight into the mechanics of success. Furthermore, we'll enrich your vocabulary with a few compelling new words to sharpen your communication skills, so commit to staying with us until the conclusion. The value in this viewing, I assure you, will be substantial. Our story begins in the relentless bustle of a major city railway terminal, where a certain beggar made his precarious living. Day after day, he subsisted by soliciting charitable contributions from the impatient passengers awaiting their departures. One ordinary afternoon, amidst his habitual pleas, his attention was drawn to an impeccably dressed man stepping onto the platform. Observing the expensive tailoring and the aura of absolute self-possession, the beggar immediately concluded, this man possesses significant wealth. Surely, he reasoned, if I make my request to this distinguished gentleman, the resulting donation will be quite generous. Fueled by this calculated optimism, the beggar quickly approached, extending his upturned hand. However, the response he received was completely unexpected. Instead of reaching for his wallet, the well-to-do traveler regarded him steadily and posed a startling query. Do you perpetually confine yourself to receiving from the world? Tell me, have you ever, in your entire life, offered something to someone else? The beggar was completely taken aback. He had never, in all his years on the streets, encountered such an inquiry. A moment of deep confusion passed before he managed to stammer out a reply. Sir, I am merely a destitute man. I survive purely by seeking alms. I genuinely possess nothing of value to share with another soul. A faint, almost knowing smile touched the businessman's lips. If you genuinely hold the conviction that you have absolutely nothing to contribute, he stated quietly, then you simultaneously forfeit any right to solicit anything in return. I am a participant in the world of commerce, and my fundamental belief is in the principle of exchange. If you present something I find desirable, I will gladly offer something to you in return. But if you have zero to give, I regrettably cannot offer you anything either. Having delivered this striking pronouncement, the businessman seamlessly boarded his waiting train and was gone. The beggar remained rooted to the spot, utterly astonished. The businessman's words played in a continuous loop within his stunned mind. I have begged for what feels like an eternity, he thought, but no one has ever challenged me in this manner. His words were not unkind, yet they cut straight to the bone of an uncomfortable truth. Why, indeed, should perfect strangers give me anything at all if I cannot, or will not, provide some form of reciprocal offering? For the very first time, a stark realization dawned on the beggar. Perhaps this was the core reason why people rarely offered him more than loose change, because his hand held nothing but emptiness in return. That evening, slumber eluded him as he wrestled with this profound new concept. But what, precisely, could I give, he agonized. I am utterly impoverished, a mere supplicant with nothing tangible to my name. Yet the businessman's philosophy echoed with relentless clarity. To unlock the door to receiving, you must first initiate the act of giving. 2 entire days passed in this state of deep introspection. The beggar refrained from asking anyone for money, consumed instead by his mental quest. On the 3rd day, as he sat contemplating his plight near the tracks, his gaze fell upon a vibrant cluster of wildflowers, irrepressibly blooming despite their rugged surroundings. Their sheer, bright colors captivated him, and in that instant, a revolutionary concept crystallized in his mind. What if, instead of merely being a receiver, I chose to become a provider? What if I were to offer a small, simple flower every time a kind soul bestowed a coin upon me? With newfound resolve, he stood, cautiously approached the patch, and gently gathered a modest bouquet. Returning to his customary location, he executed his radical plan. When a commuter extended him a coin, he responded with a genuine smile and offered a delicate bloom in return. To his utter surprise, people embraced the gesture with evident delight. Some even paused to thank him before rushing on. As the subsequent days unfolded, a remarkable transformation began to take place. An increasing number of individuals started to give him money, yet he noticed a clear correlation. His earnings were generous only when his supply of flowers was plentiful. The moment he ran out, the donations quickly dwindled. The businessman's principle, he concluded, was absolutely correct. People are naturally inclined to engage in an exchange where they receive something, however small, in return for their contribution. Then, one day, as he was distributing a handful of wildflowers in exchange for the day's first donations, he caught sight of the businessman once more, seated within a waiting train car. Excitement surging through him, the former beggar hurried over. "Sir," he announced with newfound confidence, "today I have something tangible to give you. Should you offer me money, I will gladly offer you these fresh flowers in return." The businessman's face broke into a broad, satisfied smile. He produced a handful of currency, accepted a few flowers, and nodded approvingly. "You have truly grasped the profound meaning of the value of exchange," he observed. "As of today, you are no longer a mere beggar. You have effectively transformed yourself into a businessman." The train doors hissed closed, and the businessman alighted at the next stop. The flower giver watched him depart, his words sparking an intense, thrilling thought. Could it be true? Am I now truly a businessman? He wrestled with the identity shift for a significant time until the final realization struck him with the clarity of a bell. I know the definitive secret to success. I am not, and never was, a beggar operating on pity. I am a trader. People are willingly paying for the flowers I provide them. This means, without a doubt, I possess a legitimate business. Galvanized by this monumental revelation, he made a definitive, bold choice. That day, he packed his few possessions, walked away from the railway station, and never returned to his life as a supplicant. 6 months later, at that very same, bustling railway terminal, two well-dressed men crossed paths. They exchanged the formal handshake of colleagues, but one man paused, his brow furrowed in curiosity. "Do I know you?" he inquired. The other man chuckled warmly. "Indeed, we've met twice before, both times right here by this track." The first man concentrated, searching his memory, until his eyes widened with sudden, complete recognition. "Wait, you are the beggar. The one I initially refused to give money to, and from whom I subsequently purchased flowers." The former beggar laughed aloud, a full, successful sound. "That was certainly me," he confirmed. "But today I have moved far beyond being a beggar. I now operate a highly successful flower wholesale business and am currently traveling to secure a major expansion opportunity." The businessman was utterly astonished. "That is absolutely incredible. What on earth caused such a profound change?" The successful flower entrepreneur simply smiled. "You, sir, taught me one of the most critical lessons of human existence. We only genuinely begin to receive when we commit to the act of giving." That day I finally saw that I had never been inherently a beggar. I had been a businessman all along. I simply had to revise my internal self-perception. The two men firmly shook hands once more, now meeting as true equals before boarding their respective trains and heading toward their ambitious futures. The tenor of your existence is inexorably shaped by the way you choose to perceive yourself. If you harbor the limiting belief that you are inherently insignificant, your reality will reflect that limitation. However, if you fully recognize the immense, untapped potential that resides within you, greatness becomes an achievable destiny. Therefore, make a conscious choice not to impose arbitrary boundaries on yourself. See yourself as powerful, inherently capable, and ultimately successful, because when your inner thoughts undergo a fundamental shift, the entirety of your future will transform accordingly.